Hello and welcome to the newest installment of Avenicast, the First Job podcast. I'm your host, Scott Dettman, CEO of Avenica. And joining me today is Faisale Boukari, the CEO of Plateau Healthcare. Thanks for joining us, Faisale.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, and just to call it out, if you've listened to the podcast before, or if you're viewing this in some way, shape, or form, my voice may sound a little bit different today. And in true kind of honor of the our guest today, who's an esteemed member of the healthcare world. I am a little bit under the weather, so I'm gonna power through. I feel better than my voice makes me sound, but I've got a nice smooth baritone sound today. It's a little deeper than normal, so bear with me. But I just wanted to address that right at the top. So yeah, so it's a strange time to get sick, right? I mean, because you get sick and everybody thinks it's COVID. This isn't, but yeah. So
I mean, I'm kind of crazy about it now. I mean, all the employees that come in sick, we have this checklist that we start checking. Okay, where's the symptoms? Where did it start? Where's the fever? So
yeah,
it's one of those things. Yep.
Well, maybe we'll go through the checklist after the call, and you can tell me. But yeah, I think I'm in the clear. But yeah, it's I have a couple of kids in school, and it's that time of year that they just start bringing germs home, and they're so nice to share. So well, anyway, I'm excited to chat with you today, excited to learn about your experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, but before you were a CEO of Plateau Healthcare, you were an RN, right? You were a registered nurse.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, I mean, that's a leap that not a lot of people make, right? Going into nursing and then going and leaving the nursing field to go into business. Tell us a little bit about what that experience was like and what motivated that decision.
Yeah, actually, Scott, I'm still actually an RN. Today, I still hold my license as a nurse.
Okay, great.
I still actually, even in my role, I still get called in at work once in a while, especially COVID time, actually, where we have a very heavy staffing shortage.
Mm-hmm.
So go in and pull my sleeves up and do patient care. I just did one about maybe 3 weeks ago, actually. Went to work 5 hours, basically from 7 p.m. until 1 a.m. in the morning, I believe, until they relieve me. So, so it's one of those things that nursing never stops. I mean, you have a kid, you always have to nurse the kids, but start from the beginning. Basically, I originally graduated from Mankato State with a degree in epidemiology. I thought that I will love, to be in an office somewhere and have a desk job, but very quickly, actually, the first 2 weeks after graduation with that degree in epidemiology, I realized that I'm not a very office person. I can't sit still.
Okay.
And I remember actually when I was in college, I had a job as a nursing assistant at the hospital in Mankato. And I actually love being in the hospital. I love being at the bedside and helping people. And so I was talking to a friend of mine 2 weeks after graduation, and I was telling him about my fears actually going to the job and finding an office job and not gonna like it. And he goes, well, Mankato State actually offer a second degree in person after you have a first bachelor's degree. So they'll give you do an intensive course, I think is 18 months, and then a second degree in nursing. Well, I quickly called the school and see if I can apply for that program, but I was told that the application season was passed. But the dean of the school actually encouraged me to apply anyway and see if somebody dropped out, they might call me. And I don't know, I went on my way coming to Minneapolis looking for a job in my field as an epidemiologist. And I believe 2 months later, basically got a phone call from the School of Nursing in Mankato to say that one people dropped out and then there's 5 of us for that spot to interview for nursing program for that spot. So I quickly went back to Mankato and went for the interview. and got accepted. Got a call 2 weeks later with the letter in the mail that I was accepted into that program. So it was pretty, very extensive program. 18 months through summer, we had to take 17 credits and got done. So, 18 months basically through the program. Sorry, excuse me. And after the 18 months program, I was actually looking for a job. I applied for Mayo Clinic. I applied for Mankato. There's a hospital in Mankato. I was actually even hired both hospitals. I believe 6 months before I even graduated from nursing program.
Oh, wow.
This was 8 actually. And then at the same time, I was talking to a friend of mine. I had a mentor, most alcohol father figure, Jeff Hamill. So his son, Matthew Hamill, actually was about probably 2 years older than me. And he was already in nursing school. Working at the Hennepin County Medical Center as a nurse. And he's also was actually preparing to going to become a nurse anesthetist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the master level program as a nurse anesthetist. I'm interrupting. Sorry if you have any questions.
No. I guess one thing. One question that comes to mind, just in case people aren't aware, I think people are probably more aware of epidemiology than they have been in the past because of the pandemic that we've just gone through. But epidemiology is basically like the analysis of like public health data and health data, right? I mean, what is epidemiology?
So epidemiology, basically, you person that will basically trying to find, like right now, actually, with the COVID. So there will be a lot of epidemiologists in the background, actually trying to find out the first stage of COVID and digging through information and basically work backward, trying to figure out how do we trace it back? So and there's a lot of there's also physicians actually that are epidemiologists as well. So epidemiology is broad. It's a degree that you can get on top of another degree. So you have a lot of physicians, I believe. So there's a lot of you see a lot of physicians, a lot of even nurses actually that have an epidemiology, degree in epidemiology as well on top of the nursing program. Yeah.
Well, so, and that makes sense. I mean, not to jump ahead too much, but if you think about, getting into the nursing program, going through that sort of the crash course intensive, launching your career, but then also, in the backdrop, you've got this epidemiology degree, which probably hones some of your, research skills, critical thinking skills, right? Because to make that leap into the business world is a little bit different, and not many nurses do that, right? So I guess before we get there, maybe tell me a little bit more about that first job. So you're talking about Hennepin, and is that where things started?
Yeah, Hennepin County Medical Center. Actually, the whole thing started because Dr. friend of mine who encouraged me to apply at Hennepin because in order to apply for the anesthesia program for nurse anesthetists, you need about a year and a half in ICU. So you need to work as a nurse in ICU and have a bachelor's degree. So when I applied to Mayo Clinic, they offered me a job, but they offered me a job in a step-down unit, which is not ICU. So basically, a step-down unit is anybody who's in ICU, and then they'll put them to basically after they get a little better, they'll go back to step-down, and then they'll go down to general floor. So there's three. I was very adamant that I would like to start this program in about a year and a half. So the only way to do it is start in ICU right away because I don't have much time to waste. I brought my resume. So basically, in also the nursing school, we have final 3 months. We have to pick a hospital to do an internship. So basically, today, 5 days a week. And then, so Mankato has a kind of affiliation with the different hospitals. They get to send a student to one of those hospitals. So I actually picked Hennepin, and that's how I ended up with the Hennepin County Medical Center. If I forgot, I'm also actually from Minneapolis. I mean, I live in Minneapolis, for many years actually before going to Mankato. So I'm always looking to come back to the city. many times. So I finished my internship at Hennepin County Medical Center in surgical ICU. And I tried to get a job in the surgical ICU, but there was no opening at that time. So I went next door to Hennepin, actually on the 7th floor. They also have a medical ICU next door. So I started going there and talking to the manager. She encouraged me to apply in HR, but unfortunately, there was no jobs opening in HR for medical ICU. So I basically just made a point. Every morning, I would bring my resume to the manager's office and, just do a little chit chat and check with her. I know she comes in usually early, about 6:30, 6:45. So I'll make a point as soon as I'm done with my night shift of my internship, I'll go there and say hello. And one day I think after my last day, I told her this is my last day of an internship. Really love the job here at Hennepin. I told her my story. And she goes, well, you should apply to HR. I say, well, there's no jobs opening in HR in the medical ICU. She goes, okay, well, we'll just have an interview here and we'll do it backward. And she just had the interview. I was hired at Hennepin. Started in 2008 in the medical ICU. And to that program, basically, to work in a medical ICU is very, very intense. It's basically in the hospital is the highest point where you care for the most sickest of the sickest, basically.
Yeah.
People on life support. I mean, you name it. Right now with the COVID, I can just imagine what's going on right now in that floor in the medical ICU. People on life support, and it's pretty very intense. Now, to work there as a new grad from school requires normally to hire somebody in the medical ICU, they have to have at least like 5 years of nursing experience in order to work in ICU. But coming in as a new grad from school, we were sent, actually there was 2 of us that was hired during that time. So we were sent into a program, almost like a 6-month program, where we will work half the time on the floor and half the time actually in the class. It was almost like going back to school again.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how I basically started my first job as a medical ICU nurse.
Wow.